we are live. Fantastic. Hello, lovely people. Hello, and welcome to another delightful meeting of the Pirate National Committee. Hopefully another productive one. We'll see. But we're all here. We got a whole crowd of people. It's fantastic. So as always, it looks like we have a quorum. I'm calling this meeting of the Pirate National Committee to order at 9:07 p.m. Eastern Time. And let's begin with IDs. I'm just going to go in the order that I see you all on the screen. So let's start off with Woden's Day.
Anthony J., Indiana, USPP Outreach Chair.
Thank you very much. Joe.
Joseph Honorowski, Massachusetts Treasurer, and so much more.
True that. True that. Thank you. Drew.
Drew Bingaman, PA organizer for the Pennsylvania Pirate Party.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Mitch.
Is Mitch here anymore?
Oh. Yes. Mitch DeVillo of the Illinois Pirate Party. I am the Swarm Care Manager for the United States Pirate Party.
Thank you. Jamie? Oh, Jamie, we can't hear you. Can we do a mic check?
Sounds like the wrong mic is connected.
Ethan, you want ID while we're figuring
Sure.
it out?
I'm Ethan Osborne, and I am captain of the Kentucky Pirate Party, a.k.a. Oz, no relation to Dr. Oz. Thank God.
Thank goodness. Indeed.
Yeah, we're dealing with that here.
No, disaster.
Also, while we're waiting, Mitch is the Swarm Care Manager, and not only that, he is actively looking to keep his role, so you should vote for Mitch at our upcoming conference.
That's right.
the voice modulation that happened just there was amazing.
There's not even anything in this cup. I don't know why I went for the drink. It just,
the drama.
Condition
Jamie, do we have you?
response.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
Great. Don't know what was going on. James O'Keefe, Party Secretary, Massachusetts, dutifully taking notes.
Thank you very much, Jamie. My name is Rose Klein. I'm the chair of the Pirate National Committee. Let's go ahead and begin with reports then. Woden's Day, same order.
Outreach. Okay. I don't know why I had to think about what I was giving out a report on for a second. I do this every week. For outreach, we've finally come to a solution with the newsletter, which I'm really excited about. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're just going to write articles like normal, put them up on the website like normal, and that's how we're just going to focus our writers to do that, as we've sort of encouraged them to do in the past. But how we're going to make the newsletter is we're just going to compile everything we write in 1 week and send it out on our email list. There's still articles in production. There's still interested writers. I'm hoping that really we might have multiple things posted on the blog this week that are new, that are opinion pieces from some of our writers. So I'm really looking forward to that. Other than that, the whole Youth Pirates project has finally been taken underway by an actual youth pirate that wants to get with other, high school age pirates and figure out what they can do to help the organization and how they can be politically active. There's a Discord for that if you are a youth pirate or a volunteer that wants to be involved. The age range is around, I think, 13 to 24 is what we decided on. So, the high school age pirates, that can be their main way of participation. And then the college age pirates, they can be involved both in the USPPM there, but it'll just be a good time all around. Not much is happening on the Discord server yet, but I expect that Addison Dillon is going to be at work over the next week figuring out how they want to take the organization forward.
Yeah, and I think as with any of this sort of stuff, we can have lend assistance from the various members of our organization. Jamie.
Clarifying question, is there a different Discord for youth, or are they
Yes.
on the main Discord?
There's a different Discord server. You can find it in the announcements channel. I shouted it out.
Okay, we should update the blog to have that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to do that as soon as there was a more formal structure on their Discord, or as soon as they got me a logo. More important.
They're definitely still working on it. All across the board.
No, I know it's first.
Yeah, they're still. A lot of them are still in school for another week.
Yeah. And then with the newsletter, I guess just a question quick about coordinating with IT folks on that in terms of getting all the stuff together. I don't know if there was intended to be any coordination with IT or if there needs to be, and I guess just if so.
Yeah, I've spoken to you about that a little bit, Yari, though I guess we should also, both speak to Jamie about it. I mean, I guess we just need to, the idea that we just send this out on our main email list, the newsletter. But I don't know how any of that really works, which is my mistake.
I think that's fine. We have different areas. Maybe we could start a.
Should I just be at the next IT meeting?
That would probably be good, actually. Yeah. I was going to say,
okay. Yeah, I'll just be at the next IT meeting.
I was going to say email, but I think that makes a lot of sense.
We should probably talk in person about that since I'm probably getting a lot of updates on more IT stuff.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Joe, anything to report?
Nothing on the Treasury side. I did attend the last PPI board meeting, and it was interesting. It was nice to actually connect and put the faces. Found out that some New York members are still active on the international level, which is good to hear. Even though they don't directly work with us, we still have a presence, at least internationally.
Do they know we're still alive?
Oh yeah, they know we're active. Okay. In terms of total members, we might rival our whole European Union but they're just more the way the structure works and how we're structured is so similar to how the international organization is. It's like and I don't want to insult our international partners, but even though they're all different countries, the way we come together as states is the way that they are coming together internationally. So once we take and step up more on that, I think we have a lot we can help each other out with. In terms of our overall organizational, I think we bring a lot to the table, especially as we're gaining steam and growing and getting bigger. And I think with their more procedural, they're more honed. We're more vibrant. I can't really describe it better than that. We have a lot more youth energy. At least as far as what I've seen, we have a lot of youth energy.
Hip youth.
And so we bring a lot to the table too. So that's exciting for me.
No doubting that. Cool. So, thank you. Excited that you got the chance to go there. Just want to make sure I didn't cut you off and you're good with reports otherwise?
Yes, I pretty much completely passed the buck to the gentleman with the fantastic beard. When it comes to, yes.
You might have to be more specific at this point.
Yeah, which one?
Yes.
Well, sure, to Mitch for platform, you mean?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Drew, anything to report?
Yeah. Well, our bylaws are now finalized, and we will be voting them in on Wednesday night when we meet. We should have at least a provisional board at that same meeting, and we will be rolling into starting our official platform for Pennsylvania. So we are basically going to be ready to petition for membership very, very, very soon. And I think we talked about maybe doing it at some point during the conference.
That can happen. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be fantastic, honestly.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we'll be ready.
I would prefer the first meeting of the conference as opposed to the
meeting right before.
The meeting right before the conference. Okay. Yeah, right, because we start on Monday. If that's possible. I mean, we could do it at the election meeting. It's just, it feels a bit weird to go like.
But if we do it at the election meeting, then there's like a big spectacle attached to it.
That's true.
I
don't know. Okay, maybe I'm coming around on either way.
Because I suggested this plan to Drew because it was like, look, if we get you guys in, like when everyone's watching, that's an event. Okay, that's a spectacle.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm flexible either way, whatever you guys want to do, and I'm willing to work with you guys to make sure we have everything, all our T's dotted and I's crossed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but I think we'll be ready.
I guess I'm just curious if I'd say whichever makes sense for the organization. I think we can run either way, and
as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter which one, whatever makes most sense with the program, or whichever will make a bigger splash if you think.
Cool. Could we get a copy or a link to your bylaws?
Yes,
in email, in some form.
Actually, I think I sent AJ a copy of that already.
You did.
Okay. Yeah,
so that's unless that is our proposed. And I don't see any changes being made. We'll just be ratifying those as they sit at the moment. So AJ has a link to that. So yeah.
Cool. Mitch, anything to report?
Yes. Platform was able to get together a police reform plank, and I had sent that by email to the PNC. So hopefully if we can get around to new business, we can discuss that. As for Swarm Care business, Ohio has their social media up and a website damn near complete. If we can get Brianna to show up to meetings, I feel like Ohio's right there, ready to be, formed. I have not gotten around to have much discussion with Florida, and that's on me. But past that, I actually am having lunch sometime in the future with an organizer from the American Solidarity Party. That I will let you guys know how that works out. But that is there's a candidate for the Democrats that's American Solidarity Party aligned for Illinois 1, and he wanted to sit down and have a conversation. So if that comes fruitful, I will let you guys know.
Cool. Thank you. Jamie, anything to report?
IT did not meet last week. It will meet this week. Working on still having issues with email, but working on mobile, being able to at least send messages to text messages to people, which at least would allow us to put things up at the blog and then send, hey, the latest thing is up, and send them a text message. So focusing on that at the moment. What was the third point, Mitch, after Ohio? You said Florida.
And then connecting with the American Solidarity Party.
Thank you.
Okay. Ethan, anything to report?
In regards to outreach?
In regards to Kentucky, in regards to your
sure.
campaign, if you'd like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as far as outreach, I'm still working on organizing something with the local Greens, and now also I've been in contact and am reaching out to a lot of disenfranchised Democrats who are, after the SCOTUS situation, have seem like they're starting to defect or at least look for alternatives. So I'm working on that as far as outreach. I had a kind of like spur of the moment interview with Jordan Sheraton from Status Quo News. So hopefully he posts that soon. And I plugged the Pirate Party in that interview. And the Kentucky Pirate Party website is now producing content. So that's active and going. And the Twitter kind of was stagnant. That I'm trying to get that rolling too. Trying to do a lot of things at once. So and and getting members here involved with social media, so to lessen the burden on me. So I had something else. That's pretty much it. So I had that interview, like I said, with Status Quo, plug the Pirate Party, got the website, producing content. I invite anyone else from any other state parties to contribute to the site also, and likewise, you can use whatever I write from articles from the Kentucky Pirate site on the US Pirate site as well, if you want to. So I'm open for that, and just reach out to me. And I think that's everything.
Cool.
I had something else I forgot. It'll come to me.
And if it's important, you are welcome to mention it later on. Thank you, Ethan. Okay, so that's reports. Let's move on to old business. First off, just a update on the USPP conference, which is coming up. I guess the main thing that I recall being an issue, last time we talked about scheduling of the talks and promotion, and I'm curious, and a bit about the technology required for the upcoming conference. I guess I'm curious, just in terms of, I know some stuff has come up with the keynote since then. So, AJ,
I can talk about the keynote. I actually have two things to talk about there. Jamie, would you like to tell them about the first one?
I mean, you're organizing this, so you should talk.
Okay. After not having having some issues with trying to find a keynote speaker, on behalf of Mitch and I reached out to Jamie and asked him if he would give us his a keynote address for the conference, and he very graciously said yes. So Jamie will be our keynote addresser. But I have a second announcement. There's a plan in the works. We don't have anything tangible yet, but I am being told I will get something very soon. We may or may not have a recording of a different guest that we were trying to get, and we'll be able to play that at the conference.
Oh, fantastic. That potentially very exciting news. I will.
Yep.
Knock on wood. Cool.
Yeah, naturally, I don't have it in my hands yet, so I don't want to say it's a definite. But I've been told that it is being worked on and will be sent to me soon.
Okay. That's very exciting news. Other updates for the conference in terms of what we need to do, or what's been done?
Joe wanted to speak. I'll let him.
Yeah, Joe, especially if that's a response to the previous thing. Go for it.
It is. So I reached out to the ACLU.
Yes.
Did they contact us back?
Not that I've seen. Has anyone else seen something?
No.
Okay.
Specifically for the conference.
Yep. Thank you for reaching out to them. Appreciate that.
Not a problem. I was hopeful, but you know, the ACLU. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Really, the big thing that I'm thinking about that I would like for us to really start doing is those time slots. We've got a few hammered down, but not all of them. Part of that is on me. I think we could probably get some done for some of them if we just sat down and had a conversation about it. But also, I know some of you said you might want to do panels. I would really like for us at the convention conference committee people, Mitch, Yari, and I, if we could know by tonight if you do want to do one,
Yep.
just so we can, develop the theme and put it on the schedule.
Yeah, I'm just gonna emphasize that, especially for anyone watching, to be 100% clear. Not just for our own folks, but for anyone watching this. If you are watching this live, if you are watching this later in the day today on Sunday the 15th, today is the deadline to get in some sort of description and pitch for a talk for our conference. We would love to have your voice in it. We would love to have more participants. We really appreciate hearing from people all across the Pirate Party and from those affiliated with us. If you have a solid pitch that you think fits with our theme, please submit it. The link is in the description of this video. I made sure to put it there. So do that. Joe.
I'm willing to do one of the talks, specifically around running for local office.
Okay. I think we might have something like that in the works. I'll get you with Matthew.
Yeah, it could be a panel.
If you already have.
Yeah. I also kept on telling him to contact you, Jamie, because I know you did something similar last year. Would you be willing to be involved in that again?
Depends on when it is.
Okay.
Actually, Jamie, sorry to interrupt, but Jamie, do you have a pre-recording about running from one of our mass conferences that we could just plug in for a time slot? Maybe I can go over, add it, and just plug it in.
I have at least 3 different recordings. So, a variety of topics of running for office. So we can link to all of them.
We could definitely run one of those as a time slot.
Wednesday is Run for Office Day. We will be running 4 different versions of the same content.
Oz.
Yeah. I just wanted to add. I had planned on submitting, pre-recorded stuff because my schedule is a little unstable, but I would like to try to attend maybe a live panel.
Yeah.
Since Kentucky's, a new chapter and it's all about Pirates Reborn. I feel like I should be there for at least some live discussion. So
sure, we can work that out. Honestly, if we have awkward schedules on any of the days, like someone can only do something at 7 and then someone else can only do something at 9 on that day or whatever, we could totally, fill in time slots with just, casual pirate chatter if we need to. We have a decent amount of stuff that's in the works, but we do not have too much, so we can still be flexible.
Ethan, did you have something more to follow up with?
Oh no, that's all. Sorry, got a train going by. I got to mute.
No worries. Okay. Cool. Thank you for the updates. Any further discussion on the conference?
Yes, please.
Joe?
So if we actually have the pre-recordings for running for office, then I would like to do a segment, if possible, on doing a social media blast, how to set up a YouTube channel, how to broadcast that. And I think that would work great with our Swarmwise. If Swarmwise is willing to work with me on that, we could put together, do a quick collab, or the media on how to get your message out, doing a YouTube channel, setting up a YouTube channel, going over all the technical stuff of how to do that.
Okay.
Due to SwarmCare's schedule, I think that's going to have to be on the weekend. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mitch, but that's what I heard you say.
Yes, my schedule is restricted me to the weekend for most events, if not all.
That's fine. Whenever you can.
Yeah. I think we could get it done. That would be fun. Please put it in the form so we don't forget. But yeah, I think if we all work really hard this week, we will have our full itinerary, carved out. Maybe a week in advance, so everyone can look at it, know what's going on.
True.
if you need another spot filled that goes along with the running for office,
Mhm.
I can do a spot that is sort of the pirate version of the Molten maneuver.
Oh,
With
yeah.
because I am very familiar with how that was done.
I think
Um,
every pirate should know about the Molten maneuver and what was done with it within the LP.
mhm.
That is we're stealing that.
yeah, no, that's definitely. So I would be willing to do doing some time on that because, like I said, I was pretty intimately familiar with that. And so yeah, I can spend some time on doing that. I'm relatively open in the time slots that are in the evening. So
I'm gonna just jump in here a little bit, Drew. Sorry. To say that for any of us that are considering, right, again, the scheduling is taken care of by the form that is filled out. That is linked in the description of this video. I'm also happy to send you that link again. It's posted to our Twitter a few times. It's posted to the website. Ideally fill that out by tonight. That would be great. Yes. Drew and Joe, I just heard things from both of you on the possibility of doing a talk or helping out with something. Do you need any action item follow up with that, or is that on?
I think I don't know that I do other than I'll just filling out the form here for you.
Cool.
I think I can take care of everything else that I need.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm happy to do a talk if we can fill out one of the things where I'm not talking about a topic that's been talked about many times and focusing more on technical aspects of how to set up multimedia accounts and going through that. I would actually prefer the talk of how to set up a YouTube channel, how to set up,
Yeah,
how
well,
to repost it, and do a redirect and all that.
And that should be, entirely within your control. You are welcome to submit that as a proposal. I'm sure it'll be fine. And probably, we'll be able to schedule you for whatever time you need. Ethan.
Yeah, forgive me that I didn't realize that this was a topic for this conference. So considering I'm running for office too, for House of Representatives as a pirate, I should probably have something to contribute to that. And sorry about that. I didn't realize that.
That's
I've
right.
just been so
We could.
I've just been so busy. It's easy. I overlook things a lot. So on some of our websites.
We
So
could
yeah, sorry about
plug.
that. So yeah.
We could plug. Just devote an hour to plugging your campaign and Mitch's campaign.
Right.
That's also something.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could talk,
There's a
just
lot.
about definitely the struggles of, running as an independent third party is a big deal to talk about for us. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing
whatever. Just send them in. Send them into the form.
I'm hearing a potential submission for a panel on current candidates. Does that, I guess, who would be able to take on the short responsibility of submitting that form for that?
I suppose I could.
Okay.
I could submit that form for you.
Okay. Thank you, Mitch.
Saturday is just going to be packed full of Mitch because he won't be around for everything else.
Cool. Any further discussion on the conference?
Just submit your forms for everything, even if it's just a stupid idea that you don't know you're going to go through with. Just put it in the form by tonight so our poor committee can see all of it in front of us at once. And that goes for you two watching. If you don't even know if you really want to do a panel, just submit it by tonight so we have it, and we can figure that out in the coming days.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Jamie.
What happens if they can't get it in tonight, but they get it in Tuesday or Wednesday? Will we possibly consider it, or is that deadline fixed?
We might consider it. I think that's what we discussed earlier, but we can't make any guarantees that there will be enough time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
I think my understanding is that after all the submissions are in tonight, we're going to be doing the scheduling out, and then at that point, those slots are locked in, so that if we like the subject of your talk, if you're good, like we can fit you into a slot that's still open, then I don't see why not. It's just a matter of like first time slot preference versus not. Okay. See no further discussion. And moving on. So the other item for old business was the proposal that I had submitted to change some of the structure and to dissolve the position of chair. I know that there's been some, I guess first off, I'm curious if, just looking at time here. I'm curious, I guess first off, I'm curious if people have had the chance to read it, or if, more specifically, who hasn't had the chance to read it yet.
I've read it.
I've skimmed through it, but I need to read it again.
Okay. No worries. And wow. Okay. Thank you all for reading that. I guess then my thing is maybe we could discuss this for 5 or 10 minutes. I feel like there's in light of AJ running for the chair position, and in light of the conference coming up so quickly, based on the amount of time we would have, even if we did adopt this today, to try out the new system before the conference, I don't know that I feel particularly comfortable with proposing this as an actual thing for us to adopt immediately. I'm happy to have a short discussion about it if people want to respond to it while it's still vaguely fresh in their heads. But I think delaying it until later would probably be to the benefit of the organization. AJ, did you have a specific something?
Yeah. I think you said about what I was going to say. I was just going to say, I don't want to rush this. We have, I think, a lot of people have a few different opinions on this, or what it might look like, or what it should look like. And I don't know if, sort of like you said, doing it in 3 weeks, especially because the only reason why we were going to do it in 3 weeks is because we didn't know who was going to run for chair. So, I decided to take one for the team here, and just say, I'll do it so we can have more than 3 weeks, because I would like for us to have an elaborate, detailed discussion on something that is going to change the organization so much.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. Naturally, if the board disagrees and think we can get it done, but I don't want us to feel like we have a 3-week deadline. So at the very least, we do now have more than 3 weeks to figure it out. But it's, what we do from here, I don't know. I don't think we should rush it. That's all.
I'm going to ask for any other thoughts on this. I'm just going to open up discussion for at least 5 minutes. If we get into something really deep, then we can continue with that for another extra 5 minutes or so before we move on to other things. But does anyone have responses to AJ and I, what we just said, or to the proposal as well?
So after reading the proposal, though in the spirit of it, I fully agree with trying to go and push us into being more democratic. However, and this is a big however, it completely goes against the very grains by which we've been able to get this organization to where it is right now. And what you would be proposing by going into a liquid, straight into liquid liquid version of what we do, it would make the organizational structure that much more difficult, because I see days where no one wants to be the chair for the day. And by us not having that one person who is the designated, hey, even though I don't want to even be here today, my chickens ran away, whatever, but you know what? I owe it to everyone to be there. They're counting on me. I'm going to be there. You know, and it's one of those things that I know life happens, and I know sometimes it's really hard even for me to be here every single week, day in and day out, but I do it because it's my duty. And I think that a big part of what we're doing too is it can be a very, very much a challenge. And I think by having that role, I think it actually helps keep us organized and stronger the way we are. That being said, I wouldn't be opposed to shorter terms, nor would I be opposed to making it so that if there is a vote of no confidence, it handles a specific office instead of the whole board.
Yeah. On that note, before I get to you, Jamie, I just want to ask if there was, I recall someone saying that they were going to submit a bylaws change proposal for that vote of no confidence measure.
That would be me, and I haven't got to it yet.
Okay. Joe, if you need help on that, I'm happy to volunteer myself to assist. So feel free to email me.
Thank you.
Jamie.
Yeah, I can also help you, Joe, with that, considering I've been wanting to do that. I just point out that we do have a Lumio, I think it's Lumio instance, that we could give everyone who's a state representative access to, and we could theoretically go and say signing off on platforms, decisions, things, those types of things would be done on Lumio, and then maybe these meetings might be every 2 weeks and would just be a video chat, what's our status, and less decision making and more, more the nitty gritty type of stuff, as opposed to what our plank is on this or something. So I'm just pointing out we have a Lumio instance. We can use that, and we can restructure how we organize these meetings as well. We have that flexibility.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jamie. That's good to know. I'll have to look into that. AJ.
This is a combination of a few different things. One, I just want to second, or I guess fourth, that we need to do that bylaws change to fix the vote of no confidence no matter what. Other than that, about the Lumio instance, I do want to point out, well, I think that it would be good for us to maybe do things like vote on platform changes, things outside of the meetings. I do want to make sure that we don't, take too much away from these meetings, just out of transparency. And I just say that because, I've been getting more into the LNC and how they do things. I watched a meeting, and for an hour of it, they left into a breakout room in Zoom and did all sorts of things in private and came back. And this is after they do 80% of their stuff on a private email list. So I just want to make sure that we never become like that.
Thank you, AJ. Joe?
This goes back into liquid democracy. One of the challenges, too, is in the very way in which we did the organizational structure of the U.S. Pirate Cooperative Association. And the way in which we do the voting in and of itself, I am all for keeping all pirates involved and making sure that they have a voice. But the way in which we are structured is by the state, and each state gets a vote. So that way, no state, like Massachusetts, who has a lot of members, overpowers any of the smaller states or any of the states that are still trying to organize. And that was done by design. If we were to open it up to every single pirate across the board for voting, we wanted to make sure that each state had its own voice. And I think that's the whole reason why we structured it the way we did, if I recall. I don't know. I take a lot of hits to the head.
No, point of information, Joe. I guess I'm just curious if you're referring to this particular proposal, because the proposal that's on conversation right now is just about dissolving the chair position and is not about opening voting up outside of state membership, although I have had that discussion with folks before.
I would have to say it was both. So I was looking at liquid democracy and where that would lead us to, and essentially that was the conversation where I keep on conflating the two. I know, but I know that in getting rid of the chair and then opening up to push towards true democracy, that true democracy would be everyone gets a vote, and those are some of the challenges that in the very forming of how we were going to form the cooperative between the different states to begin with, as we rehash the Pirate Party. Those are the reasonings behind the way we structured it the way we do now. And so in doing that, we didn't want any one state to overpower another. And then going back into the key point of the chair itself, the reason why we do the chair is to keep us all organized so that we keep to the agenda and we keep moving forward. And oftentimes it is a thankless job, but thank you, Yari, for being the chair. You've been a phenomenal chair.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, thank you. Jamie.
You're muted.
I know, sorry. Too many tabs and listening to
totally
multiple things at the
understand.
same time. I've lost my train of thought. I was trying to clarify Joe's thing, but you've already done it, so I'll shut up.
Thank you for trying to clarify, not for shutting up necessarily. Mitch.
If I could just clarify, just for any concerns that you've just brought up, because I am one of the supporters of the liquid democracy version of the chair position. If I'm not mistaken, and Yari, please step in and correct me if I'm misunderstanding how the system as it was drawn up works. But with the liquid democracy, I believe the voting would still be left to PNC members. It would still be left up to the state. But the captain of, that week's meeting, or however week's meetings they'd be going, you would be having a state PNC member volunteer, raise their hand and say, I want to be the captain for this week. To which the liquid democracy would then lead to the states, the PNC members, voting and saying, yes, this is who I want to see captain this week. If you have more than one person, then it comes to a vote of whoever gets the most votes. If it's just one person, great. They're the ones that get it by default. An idea of this just being it would prevent captain burnout because it is a thankless job. That the most motivated person likely would rise to the top and say, I want to step up and be the captain. And with them being captain, that state then would relinquish voting rights for that week. If Massachusetts representative is the captain of the PNC for that week, Massachusetts wouldn't get a vote. So I don't believe
point-ish of information, maybe. I wouldn't it be the case that if the representative stepped up to be chair, their alternate would be able to step in and be the voting member for that state?
Is that true? Yeah, I'm sorry.
That is the way I am intending to structure it. Again, I haven't, and part of the reason I want to keep this conversation somewhat time limited is because I haven't written up, as you may have noticed, I haven't written up all the bylaws changes that would be attached to that. But yes, that is the intention. Is that it's open still to the alternative to be a voting member. The main thing that I think is, there's a couple things, right? One is just one thing I want to hit on with this is just how the role is already, a lot of the pieces of the role are already done by other officers, and then just that in specifically like who steps up and how they would be affected. They just wouldn't be able to, because they're the chair. There's for that meeting, there's sort of the responsibility of facilitating the meeting, and also then sort of an expectation of vague neutrality on issues if there's a contentious issue that comes up.
So let me ask, how would that be any different than saying, hey, I don't want to do this position anymore, I step down?
It's a responsibility more than a position. It's just the responsibility of chairing the meeting. It's not the entire position of captain slash chair, which throughout the proposal I discussed other ways that the other responsibilities could be disseminated. So it's just the responsibility of chairing the meeting. If we don't have someone who steps up and says they want to chair the meeting, then I presume that the next thing that would happen is just the members of the PNC would vote on who would become the chair for the next meeting. But with the sort of expectation that we need to have a chair for every meeting, because we do, I imagine that someone would be able to step up or willing to step up each week, I hope. Mitch?
Well, would we still be having a vice captain that would be a permanent voted in member? Would they not just be able to, if no one volunteers to chair that week, wouldn't they just by default step up to that position?
That's a possibility, yeah. Okay.
Chair on standby.
I want us to have the. I want us to move on unless there's further important discussion that people feel needs to happen about this. Knowing that we are not voting on this right now, knowing that we are just delaying action on it a little bit, we're welcome to have, if there's no other main issues that are pressing, but I imagine there will be next week, we're welcome to have another brief discussion about this next week. But it's on the plate. Feel free to continue thinking about it and continue discussing it. Okay. Thank you all. Next up, Mitch, you had a platform proposal. I want to make sure we get to that.
Yes, the platform committee had put forward a proposal on police reform. I had sent that to the PNC email. Let me pull that up. I can put that into the chat. Let everyone read it.
Can I make a suggestion? We created a PNC alias, but we have USPP-SAB mailing list. Can we use that so that gets archived and not just goes to specific people's email?
Of course. Would you like me to send this to that SAB list after the meeting?
Yes, please. I'll type it in the chat.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie, just to clarify, is your suggestion that we always use the SAB list for communication before meetings?
Yes, I think that's the list that this body is supposed to be using for email. So my suggestion would be that we should use that email list. So
thank you for clarifying. Cool. Okay, so Mitch, thank you for sharing that Etherpad. And it looks like we have William here. William, could you go ahead and give your ID?
William Dappin, California co-rep.
Thank you very much. Okay. So we're just starting a discussion on the platform submitted by the Platform Committee for Police Reform. Mitch, do you want to give a brief intro to this before, or should we just let people have time to look at it? It's pretty short.
Sure, of course. So the proposal came, I had asked for a new method of submitting platform proposals to anyone who had a proposal, submit an Etherpad, and that week we would spend discussing that Etherpad and discussing the platform. This week it was police reform. I thought we had a very good discussion about some of the things that we can do. Some of the positions were suggested, not all of them were taken in. It really was a process of what is the best thing we can do, what's the best things we could put forward for now. And this is actually written up by Woden's Day. AJ, thank you for writing it. But this is what we kind of came to the consensus of. This would be the best adoption moving forward for now for a platform. I read it. I think it's good. I think it's ready to be applied, but this is for PNC's consideration.
Open to any motions to approve this in a second before we open up any further discussion or debate.
All motion
Question?
to approve it.
Yeah, I was going to say, otherwise, if people have questions, like we can just do that. But yeah, okay. So that's a motion to approve.
I have not yet received a copy of it. Is there one on Etherpad somewhere?
Yeah, it's linked
in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Sorry, Rose.
If we want to do the discussion first, I can rescind that.
No,
I don't know what we're feeling.
Usually discussion.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Mitch and AJ, I'll take that as a motion in a second so that we can go into official discussion. Cool. Welcome to discussion time. It's discussion time. Happy discussion time.
As part of the police reform, I totally agree with the demilitarization of police, but I would also like to work in there part of that reform to be an allocated budget where we do continual training for police officers. One of the things that really fails in the system for police officers is that they get right out of the academy, and then that's pretty much it for all of their training, and they're just sent out into the world and they just kind of have to figure it out. Whereas if a police officer, instead of being out in the community 5 days a week, we send them out 4 days a week, and with the 5th day being dedicated towards training, whether it be life-saving techniques for like EMT, etc., or like psychological counseling to try and de-escalate situations. If we invest that training in our officers who are trying to most of them trying to keep the world a better place, then we can definitely find a much better result. It's stuff that's done in Europe, and it has been proven to be very effective in making better police officers, where we just incorporate a continued training model.
Jamie?
3 things that I do not see here that I think should be added are opposing civil asset forfeiture. That's one way to demilitarize police. If they don't have their own little slush fund in order to buy surveillance gear or military equipment or whatever the heck they're buying with it, that's something that we should, if we can deprive them of funds that they're going to misuse, then we should do that. Second is, we believe in privacy and they shouldn't be spying on people. And at a minimum, they need warrants if they're going to do that. That includes stingrays. That includes going and looking social, looking at, going and saying, hey, we want this person's location from a third party provider, or text messages they did on a private chat, or breaking into their phone or something. Warrants at a minimum. And then stats. We need to make sure that we are keeping good information, good statistics on police involved shootings, police stops, police frisks, whatever, to monitor whether they're racially biased, and any other biases that you could possibly think of, and whether they actually are effective, right? I mean, we know that some of the police reforms that came about in the 80s and 90s of, stop and frisk are just A, racist, but B, they're useless and ineffective. So we should be gathering data to figure out what is the data-driven approach that works? That's it.
Thank you. Very considerate. I appreciate it. Joe.
Actually, two things. Motion to add time.
Any objection to adding time to finish this discussion? Hearing no objections, time is added.
And then the second, to piggyback off of Mr. O'Keefe, one of the things that is an absolute abhorrent thing that they do is that if you have a large sum of cash on you, they will just assume it's for illegal activity and will take it from you. And this actually happened to a veteran who had a ton of cash on him. He was going to buy a new vehicle. He got pulled over by the police. They saw the money. They just took it from him. And he had to fight for months through his life in the rear. Had to fight for months to get that money back. So make it so that it is absolutely legal. Even if you have a stack of drugs next to you, they can't touch your legal tender. As part of our doctrine.
Yeah. AJ.
My suggestion is, because I'm hearing a lot of good suggestions, but I would suggest that we pass what we have, if everyone is okay with it, and then if either of you two want to remember to make sure Mitch brings some of your suggestions back up at platform, so maybe we could amend it with more stuff later. That might be a good way to go about it, because I like these suggestions, but I do want to make sure that we don't hold up a piece of writing that everyone would otherwise be okay with it, just because we might want to add some stuff in the future, and because I think we might need to, hammer out some of these details, in discussion before they are actually ready to be added to the document.
I'm just gonna inject myself here a little bit and say I think that makes sense. I also want to note that if these suggestions are being discussed this week and then we come back around to this next week, like, it is entirely possible that we can still have a quick turnaround on this and just modify the document as opposed to having to somehow modify it after approving it. That's my initial thoughts. Mitch.
That was actually a suggestion I was about to bring up, where if you would all prefer, we can add these amendments to the current platform with the civil asset forfeiture, with the right to privacy and all that, and resubmit it to the platform committee tomorrow just for their approval, just to, say like, yep, we're good with it. And if they're good with it, then we already have P&C approval, to where I could just try to get that to, one of you guys this week. And if it's already P&C approved, once it's platform approved, I don't see why we couldn't adopt it as soon as possible. Unless, of course, we are waiting for a second P&C meeting in order to approve it.
I think we're sort of laying down the track in front of us on this, in terms of how platform exactly functions, unless someone has a sort of point of information here about how that procedure would go about. I'm really not sure. Okay. Joe.
I was willing to stay than me.
Oh, sorry. Okay. AJ. Thank you.
I do want to say, I really don't see any issue with going ahead and making this first draft official, because I do think that, due to the nature of the issue, the less time it takes for us to have an official thing that we can reference when talking about an issue as important as police reform, the better. If we have something to pass by tonight, then by tomorrow, people can go start talking about the USPP's position on police reform. And I think that there is some value in that.
Joe.
So I would like to formally say that I have always looked at every single plank as a living document. So
there we go. Okay. Sorry for the glitch,
Hey,
folks. It happens every time. Weird. Joe, continue.
Hey, we're back. And with that being said, I just want to say that we should always look at planks as a living document. We should keep them nimble. We should keep our ideas flexible so that if we do need to change with the times, that is good. But I think what mainly Jamie was suggesting and what I was piggybacking off of was that we should, and something that we've tried to really do in Massachusetts now, is that we should put action items. So very much love the spirit of what you're saying, but then so here at the bottom, okay, here's how we're going to implement and make this a thing, and we're going to stop the forfeiture. We're going to make it so that surveillance is less, etc. So putting those action items and saying, here's what we're going to do. And once we're elected, this is what we're about. Here's what's going to happen.
Jamie.
I like the idea of getting it right the first time. Although I recognize that it's whatever we put out, someone's going to think is incomplete. I do think the surveillance is kind of a very pirate thing, so not including it feels wrong. I feel like gathering statistics, we're data driven. That's not in there. That feels wrong. And just civil asset forfeiture is just an abomination. It's against the Fourth Amendment that the Supreme Court has decided just doesn't count for police. So I don't know, if you care about the Constitution, that feels like something that we should do. So I feel like not to go and say, hey, we've got this thing, and then people are like, well, what about these things? You're pirates. It's like, I'd rather we had them there, and then we didn't have them there, and then we're like, yeah, we know about that. We're gonna go and edit it. I don't know. That's me. I feel like it would be like, okay, we wait like a week, and then we come back. I don't know that there's much opposition to any of this, so
yeah,
I'll leave it at
that. AJ.
I will say I don't really know if. Well, I don't know what this changes or where my stance even is at the moment, but I do think that I don't really know if we should place too much weight on any of this. What happens, what we decide. I don't really think it matters that much whether or not we wait or if we go ahead. If we include the privacy thing, if we don't include the privacy thing, I don't know. That's also points against my plan. I don't really know if it's that important that we do things my way. I just think that maybe we're in the territory of completely overthinking it at the moment.
I think you're right, and thank you for the sanity check. Ethan, I'd love to hear from you. I would also love to then just get to the point where I'm going to suggest that we err on the side of caution and do it next week. That's my suggestion. Ethan, go for it. Sorry.
So I gotta own this one, Mama, and this is on me. But I missed out on the discussion about this previously. This is my fault for not staying on top of everything that's going on. Sometimes I just have trouble keeping up with all of these different things that I'm juggling. I agree with everything that I see on this submittal here, this proposal. I mean, and I'm all about it. I think maybe it would behoove us to maybe just wait one more week so we can talk more about it. Otherwise, if you want to go forward, I would just probably abstain just because I haven't myself had the chance to discuss and look into it more. So, and that's my fault. No one's fault but mine. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it. So. And I'm sorry. I am sorry to hold up something like this because it was my fault that I didn't read about it. And
Ethan, you're not the one holding it up. You are adding to the conversation only. So I appreciate that. Hearing that, I guess I just want to ask if there's any major objections, and Jamie will go to you. But I also want to just sort of refocus the conversation and allow people to voice any major objections to us waiting that extra week. Jamie.
I have no objections, but my suggestion would be that we do a video meeting next meeting, because I think it's a nicer way of doing it than doing over text for this type of thing. I think the free-flowing discussion is easier than it is over text. So that would be my recommendation, but I leave that to the states to decide.
Is that a motion that I can second?
Joe could make that motion.
I motion to just switch our meetings to this format, seeing that it seems to be easier for all involved.
Wouldn't that require a bylaws change? No?
I motion for next week to be like this and expect bylaw changes.
There we go. Let's go with that. Let's go with that for now. If we want to change it permanently, I do think there's some things, IT considerations that need to happen, but we can talk about those at one of the meetings. AJ, did you want to second that?
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, cool. It's been moved and seconded that next week's meeting be on Jitsi, and I'm also hearing that the discussion of this particular proposal be tabled until next week. First, the motion about Jitsi, because that came up first, and the other one isn't a motion yet. Any major objections or discussion points on that? Hearing none, let's... Mitch?
Just a question of clarification. If next week's meeting is on Jitsi, would that mean 2 weeks from... Would that mean the next 3 meetings will be Jitsi?
That means that if next week's meeting is on Jitsi, the 29th, we probably should do Jitsi as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the 5th, we definitely have to do Jitsi. The 29th might be flexible, but the 5th, we definitely have to, because that's part of the conference. So I think that's up to us as a body, though. Any other discussion or debate on the changing next week's meeting? Hearing none, let's move to a vote. Indiana?
Aye.
Massachusetts?
Aye.
Illinois?
Aye.
Kentucky? I saw the aye, I think. I did not hear you.
Aye.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Thank you. California.
We good.
Okay, California wrote aye in the chat. That is unanimous. Next week's meeting is Jitsi. Fantastic. Thank you. On the second issue, which is just tabling this particular platform discussion until next week, I want to position that as a possibility. Are there any objections or discussion points on that?
Sorry.
AJ.
Go ahead, AJ.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to object, but I am going to point out that we do probably need a solid, streamlined idea of how we're going to approve platform things in the future, because I do think that Jamie is correct that maybe the PNC doesn't have to, vote on video for all of these things. And I think there's some things coming up. So my point is just one that we should probably definitely consider how we want to handle platform in the future, so that we can make sure that we keep the discussion going and that things get out there, both quickly but also with the proper checks and balances in place.
We could even make that part of the discussion next week.
I was planning on showing up at the platform meeting tomorrow, and start helping to build that better structure. Yari, if you could join us, if that's a possibility.
Yeah, I should be able to. Yeah.
And then we could start working on that and then present the new structure of platform. Okay. Because I have a few ideas that might just work.
Okay. Further discussion or debate on the possibility of tabling this? Hearing none, are there any objections to tabling this discussion for another week? Jamie.
Was that seconded?
I no, I don't know if it was. Okay, thank you.
Try to be a nudge.
No, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. Thank you. This is why I love it.
Seconded.
There's been a motion. Can there be a second on that?
Second.
Okay, Massachusetts seconds. So in terms of tabling until next week, any objections on the vote? Hearing no objections, we will table this discussion until next week. Thank you very much. And then platform, y'all can have that discussion. I'll be there tomorrow. We are at over time, and also the motion to add time was just until the end of this discussion, so I'm going to say we should call it here. In that vein, though, I want to ask about action items before we close. So I know I'm going to the I'll just start, but then I'm just going to go down the line and ask for what your action items for this next week are. I'm going to be going to the platform committee discussion. I have a thing that I am changing on the website, which I emailed Jamie about. I'm going to be at the IT meeting, and then I also need to submit my proposal for the conference, because everyone who hasn't done that should. AJ, action items.
Action items. One, I will probably also submit a proposal. I guess I have to decide within the next few hours by my own demands. I'll submit a proposal. I'll be going to the IT meeting on Thursday to discuss mailing list things, and maybe if we get the time, we could probably also talk about tech stuff in regards to the conference. If we can. Other than that, I can't think of. Oh, and I really want to make sure that our list of tentative, panel dates, not even tentative panel dates. I want all of the panel dates we can possibly schedule set in stone by the next meeting. I can't think of much else. There are probably other things I'll come to you with, but that's the stuff off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you. Joe, any action items for you?
Yes, tomorrow I'll be attending the platform committee, and I will be working also with Mitch on getting a possible panel done. Is there any chance you guys could link to where the sign-up sheet is for me?
Yeah, I can send that to you. In fact, I'll add that to my list of things. I'll just send that to you on.
It's also on the
Discord
website.
Or
Okay.
Discord or email after the meeting. Yeah, it is on the website.
Or just go to our 2022 conference page. It'll be right there.
Okay, thank you. And then doing all sorts of other things, other action items for me this week is we have a meeting coming up, a Pirate Moot, on the 28th I will be preparing for. And that is it as far as I'm aware.
Is that's in New Hampshire, correct? That Pirate Moot, or is that one of the ones in Massachusetts?
Yes, so it's actually at my place up in New Hampshire. I have more than one.
Would
place.
you be willing to give that information to some of our new Pennsylvania pirates if they wanted to come join the Massachusetts pirates?
Sure. It is a house that I've hopefully am done reconstructing.
Okay. So I'm assuming that Joe and Drew, one of you will reach out to the other about connecting on that specific thing?
Yep. More than welcome.
Okay. Drew, any action items for you?
First, I have to unmute. That's the first thing I need to do. Well, my priorities this week are we're gonna have another Pennsylvania Pirates 101, and we're gonna talk about elections, because in Pennsylvania it is primary day on Tuesday, and Tuesday is the night we've been doing our live streams. So that's coming up, and then Wednesday we're having our official meeting, which should nail down most of the rest of the stuff that we need to then be ready to petition for membership with the USPP. And then after that, I am going to get hardcore ready to do a slot for you guys for on the Molten Maneuver, and try to get as many details about that and how we can bring that to the pirate party and bring that to other states. Depending on how your state works, I would think that most states this should be able to be worked into. But yeah, I can. I'm gonna put together a presentation on the Molten Maneuver.
Cool. And thank you for submitting that.
Sure.
Mitch, action items?
I have none.
All good. Jamie, action items.
Making sure we have an IT meeting on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Making sure that people can at least send text messages, and getting various people accounts on our various services, including Lumio, Crew, Wiki, and the blog.
Mitch?
I'm sorry, I do have one action item, and that is just to simply resubmit to the platform meeting and, just get further discussion confirmation.
Oh, and submit for a panel.
Yes, yes.
For you and Joe. Or you and Ethan, sorry.
Yes, we wanted the third-party panel. I will send that in. Or, I'm sorry, the candidate panel, rather. I will send that in.
Okay. Ethan, action items.
Yeah, ditto. Need to submit for a panel for the election stuff, and I should feel like I should attend the the platform discussion, because I've missed out on those. I've been missing out on some just things because of some technological problems I've been having. But yeah, so that's it.
Cool. Thank you very much. And we should end because we're so far over time. It's absurd. But thank you so much for sharing your action items. Specifically, those of you who are submitting, I really recommend doing that just after the meeting. That's it. I'm gonna take any motions to close. If anyone has a motion to close or adjourn.
Motion to close. Technically motion to adjourn, but motion to close sounds fancy, so I'll say it that way.
Oh, fancy. Okay. Do we have a second on the motion to adjourn / close?
I will second the motion to close / adjourn.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I've started something and I don't like it. With that, all those in favor, Indiana.
Aye, to close.
Massachusetts.
So I'm mute was on. Aye.
Cool. Illinois.
I vote to close, but I abstain on adjourning.
Oh, okay. And Kentucky.
Aye.
Mitch going ahead and making the job of notes difficult. Okay. And with that, this meeting of the Pirate National Committee on May 15th is adjourned officially at 10:26 Eastern Time. Thank you all very much. Have a lovely night. And to all of you watching, thank you for participating in our process. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. Make sure to go check out uspirates.org. Again, that's uspirates.org, where we have links to everything, including that conference submission form, which is really well put together, and you should definitely help us out. We would love to hear your voice as a part of this whole process. That's it. That's another meeting. Jamie.
Should we pitch that people have to provide nominations by the 22nd?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. By the 22nd? Was that our deadline? Did you say?
I believe that was the deadline, the bylaw.
Yeah, for next week. Yeah. Yep, agreed. Okay. Yes, pitching that. Please submit your nominations for officer positions. The officer positions are also on our website. If they're under the About tab, I believe. So check those out and submit your nominations, whether that's yourself or someone else. We'd love to have more people help out and make the things happen.
Please
Joe.
run. We have empty ones.
What positions need nominations still? Is that a thing?
We have a swarm care
All.
nomination. We have a swarm care nomination, and we have a chair nomination.
But we would. I mean, it would be great to have multiple nominations on any position.
Yeah.
So, people are welcome to submit. I mean, that's the ideal, right?
Someone should challenge Mitch for swarm care manager. Dethrone him. He is far too powerful.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. We are adjourned. Everything's good. I need to do my outro, which is I already did most of it. Check out our website. The Discord's there too. Vote Pirate. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Let me click the link. There we go. The stream is over. That's it. There's no more stream.